Alright, good evening everyone and welcome to another episode of Journey with Attorney Jonry. I'm your host, yours truly, and Lee. Alright, so for this episode, we're going to talk about the importance of mastery and we're also going to talk about the importance of repetition. Alright, now, palagi ko namang sinasabi dun sa iba kong episodes that during my first take, I wasn't really prepared in taking the bar. And part of the reason was because during my first take, alam nyo na nga na marami akong mga biniling reviewers per subject, books per subject, and lahat yon sinubukan kong basahin during that 6-month period to prepare for the bar, yung pre-bar na tinatawag. And hindi siya naging productive kasi ang ending is wala rin akong natapos sa ni isa sa mga libro at saka ni isa sa mga reviewer na nabili ko. And when the time came for the bar exam, hindi ko na nasagot yung mga questions kasi wala rin akong na-master. Okay? So, first point that I'd like to make is that the bar is essentially about the mastery of fundamentals. Hindi siya labanan ng paramihan ng nabili mong libro, hindi rin siya labanan ng paramihan ng reviewers, ng mga magagaling na author, or kahit yung mga reviewers coming from the different law schools. And to my point, I'd like to quote Bruce Lee on this. Sabi niya, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Now, applying this by analogy to us bar takers or to us law students, hindi talaga material, madami kang talaga important, yung madami kang librong binabasa about a particular subject. For me, what worked was, and this was as I was preparing na, or I was gearing up for my second take and third take, I just focused on one book per subject. And the reason behind this is that I wanted to be able to at least finish the book, and after I finished the book, I wanted to be able to reread it again. From my experience, yung first reading is kind of a shallow reading. It gives you an overview of the landscape. Hindi pa siya deep dive into the subject matter. During your second reading, that's when you begin to pinpoint the minute details of each topic dun sa librong yon. And maswerte na kayo kung makakapag second reading pa kayo during your bar review preparations. But for me, it was important na I had to gain mastery over that book. Not necessarily sa subject matter, over that book alone. Because I wanted to have the confidence to be able to sit down sa second take ko and say to myself na wala silang itatanong sa akin na hindi ko nabasa. Kasi yung librong binasa ko, natapos ko yun at nabasa ko siya paulit-ulit. So, yun. Alright? Next point. So, important tong first point na to because my next point is that the bar exam is a test of grace under pressure. When you first sit for the bar exams, first subject, political law, first question, in every bar exam that I took, and there were 3 of them, the first question was usually a shock and awe question. And I think it's designed that way to instill in our minds that you have to be able to work with grace under pressure. And the bar exam was designed to test not only your mental capabilities, but also your emotional, psychological, and even physical capabilities. So, kaya sinabi ko kanina na you have to master or you have to finish the book and you have to master the book that you're reading for that subject matter. Because when the time comes, your first reaction will be, yun, holy crap, parang, oh my God, ang daming questions. And then, question number 1, may mga sub-question na nanganganak. And then, ngayon kasi digital na ata, no? But if you scroll down until the very end, you realize that ang haba ng exam. So, most likely, your reaction would be, paano ko matatapos tong exam given the time limit So, shock and awe. So, what do you do when you're faced with that situation? You rely now on your training. You rely now on your readings. So, if you have the confidence to say, natapos ko naman yung libro na yun eh. Like, for example, in political law, natapos ko naman yung libro ni Professor Carlo Cruz eh. So, imposible na wala akong masagot dito sa exam na to. Kasi, most likely, yung mga questions, kinuha rin naman dun sa mga authors na ginamit ko. And sa bar exams, hindi ka pwedeng mag-isip ng masyadong matagal. It's usually answered by instinct, by your first reaction. And you can only have that ability when you have read those materials. So this will be a matter of repetition, reps on reps. Alright? When you watch a basketball game, makikita nyo si Kobe Bryant or si Steph Curry, parang alam na kagad nila yung gagawin nila. Bakit parang hindi sila nag-iisip? At pagka ginawa nila yung basketball move nila, bakit parang ang ganda tingnan? Bakit parang second nature na lang sa kanila yun? And that, my friends, is the reason we're emphasizing yung you have to master just one book per subject matter. Kasi you want to be able to have that ability. Pag may tinanong sa bar exam, kaya mo kagad hanapin yung sagot. Kaya mo kagad hugutin yung sagot dun sa utak mo. Kasi ilang beses mo siya nabalikan. Kaya mo ring ma-visualize kung saang page yun, if at all kung paano mo hinighlightan, kung ka ba na notes doon. So yun. Alright? So with that, I'd also like to give you guys the list of law books that I used for my second take. And for political law, I used the books of Professor Carlo Cruz. So siya lang yung mga libro niya lang yung binasa ko for political law. Ulit-ulit ko lang silang binasa. For labor law, I used the reviewer of Professor Joselito Chan, who was also, may he rest in peace, and he was also a former boss of mine sa Chan Robles Law. For civil law, I used the books of Professor Elmer Rabuya, yung volume 1 and 2. For taxation, used the books of Supreme Court Associate Justice Japar Di Maampaw and the Better Red Book. The reason I also used the Better Red Book was because sa tingin ko lang sa tax, it's too technical even for a lawyer. So I wanted to be able to have a book where or a review material where I could refer to the definition of terms kaagad. And that's the value of the Bed and Red book for me. Alright, so for mercantile law, I also used the reviewer of Justice Maampaw and the Bed and Red book. For criminal law, I used the books of Judge Marlo Campanilla. Yun lang ginamit ko for that. And for remedial law, I used the reviewer of Professor Manny Reguera. So volumes 1 and 2 yun eh. So kasi yun naman, aside from being comprehensive, in Q&A format siya, and yung answers na nakalagay dun sa book ni Professor Reguera teaches you also how to answer for the bar. And if I needed some additional discussion on areas in remedial law, I would refer to the books of the late Dean Willard Riano. So yun, pero primary source material ko would be yung books ni Professor Reguera. Then for legal ethics, I used the Bed and Red book and the Codal. So that's it for now, guys, and thank you once again for watching my videos and for subscribing. Thank you and good night.